what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoyed it. What were your main takeaways from the spring game on Saturday?
Yeah, I think honestly my biggest is just like, and I know it's a spring game and like you shouldn't overreact. We'll always preface that, but I just have a gut. Like I came away from it thinking this front seven might just be genuinely special. Like, you know, first off, they didn't have Mason Smith and Mekhi Wingo out there, but it's just, and nor do they have Deshaun Womack. But you just watch. Like I have a feeling this Perkins, Spates, also Penn linebacker crew with Wingo and Smith with, you know, Ovia Gofa, who I actually really like too. Like, I just love what I saw there. And people were so concerned about, like, moving Perkins away from the outside to the position that, by the way, he was always going to play. But, and just, like, watching him blow up, blocking back from the backfield to set up another sack, or, like, kind of, like, slithering in between, like, you know, on a run play to get a tackle for loss, like, jumping in between the backers at the goal line. I don't know. I just think he could be really special there. And watching him in Spates, where like Spates would cover the nickel sometimes Perkins did. Like you could kind of, I mean, it's a spring game, but not showing anything. But still, like, you can just see this kind of like malleability kind of going on there of like these two just super freak athletes there, mixed with a really good D line. I came away from it like, all right, I think I buy this defense could be really good.
Brody, what about positions that maybe you still have some questions about? I know for me, and I don't know if it's a situation where LSU, who might have the best receiver room in the SEC, top 3 in the country, they had a lot of success. Now, you're looking for defensive backs. You've got a couple of transfer corners in, Denver Harris, J.K. Johnson, and others. Is that a position of concern considering what the receivers did, or do you think it's really more the story about the receivers?
Good. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I think there's two answers there because Saturday, yeah, no, I think that was a bit more the receivers. Like, I don't think you guys know football better than me. I don't think I left any of those being like that corner got beat or that corner did poorly. Maybe I'm wrong, but still, like, yeah, corner is my number one question with this team, I think. Just because, yeah, like, I think we've talked about it so many times on here that, like, last year was this group of transfers, but it was like veterans and guys that you could kind of just plug and play. But this year, yeah, it's more talented, but there's a lot more young guys or guys with question marks or guys jumping from the FCS to the SEC. Like, it's a lot of upside, but a lot of, hey, man, that Florida State game might be a little tricky there, or and so on. So I think that is a fair question. And Sage Ryan, it's like, I feel like I kind of, I don't want to pile on him because I know I talked about it in my piece for The Athletic today, but like, you know, I don't think he's really ever made good on all the hype around him coming out of high school. You know, is Taviano going to really push him there? So, yeah, I'm with you, though. I think corner is my number one concern by far.
Well, Terence Welsh, though, was somebody, and look, he was highly rated coming out of high school, but he shined to me in the spring game. It didn't really matter who he was going against. He seemed to continue to make plays. Is that someone, because, Brody, obviously you had a chance to see more spring practice than we did. You know, it's a morning practice. Did he show up in practice, or was it just a spring game situation?
Yeah, I mean, I've consistently heard, like, positive things about him. I think the only preface I'd say is, like, he looked awesome in the spring game, but it was also, like, he was going up against the second-team guys, and I think he was kind of in, like, situations to make better plays. I don't know. That might be ignorant. But still, no. I mean, he's somebody that, you know, Kelly shouted him out after. He did consistently kind of look good throughout the spring to coaches and things like that. He's definitely a guy. Like, I don't think he's not somebody who has no shot, but I still would assume he's probably, like, fourth on that pecking order if I had to, you know, just chuck up a guess right now, because as much as Denver Harris is second team, and as much as Kelly is not going to hand him anything, considering, you know, his background and need to prove it, like, I still think at the end of the day, Denver Harris probably rises up there a bit. Dude, Chestnut comes back. That's a big thing. He was a man in the spring. I would be surprised if Welsh is like a starter, but no, he's a guy that I think by next year or so could be a really good player.
Brody, maybe the biggest question of the offseason to me was simply, could Jaden Daniels grow to the point where he could take advantage of what he has in that receiver room? And spring games are weird. They're very easy mentally, right? So they're not really truly representative of what you're going to be presented with at game day or how defenses are going to look to challenge you. But in what you saw in all of spring, like in what you've heard and who you've talked to, do you believe that Daniels can take that step, that very obvious step that we all kind of see like is the final missing piece of his game?
there is a lot of optimism around them about that. Just that, like, hey, like, the extra time with the receivers, the extra time with the staff, the comfort stuff that you saw in the late second half of that season. Yeah, there's a lot of optimism about that. I just always kind of to cushion the bit with, though, like, it's so easy for us, I think, all to be like, yeah, like we saw what Burrow did in year 2 after transferring. And not Burrow's on a fair comp, but we see that a good bit. The only thing I'd say against that is just like, those were guys who hadn't played for like 3 years, and that first year, so much of it was like like Burroughs talked about it, and Jimmy talked about it a lot. Like, it was relearning to play football at a real level again. And then in year 2, it was like, all right, I'm comfortable. I know these guys will do it. Daniels, that's all true, but like we have 4 years of watching him play, so it's like, I don't know if we should expect some massive leap or anything like that. Like, to some extent we have the data set, and I think I've talked with you guys about that before, but no, they're confident. I mean, they've done a lot of like really cool, like of his virtual reality stuff and like really good kind of smart sports science stuff to kind of keep improving his retention, improving his, IQ and all those things. So there's optimism. He added some weight. I just don't think we should expect him to like go out there and just be a superstar.
Brody, we've got another transfer portal window that's open for 5 more days. Do you expect LSU to dive into that portal? And if they do, what position do you expect?
Yeah, I think the two I would most likely look at are, certainly we've all talked about safety depth, but it's always just tricky to like, how much does a guy want to come to a school and just like sign up? He went to the portal for a reason and then sign up to be a depth. It's always like a part that always I think gets left out in this, but still, I think they would love another body in that secondary. And then offensive line, I don't think it's like a massive concern. They're going to get all the freshmen in the summer. They added Mason Lunsford. He arrives this summer. They're going to be fine there. But, they offered guys about a week ago. They're always looking for more help on the offensive line. So I think that's the other one. I'd be surprised if there's any others, but it's LSU. I never know what they're going to do.
Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.